Okay. Hey guys. Um, so I just finished week 3, right? Week 3, I think. I think this is my 3rd week here. Um, and it went pretty well. Um, I am really enjoying my biological substrates of behavior class. It's super duper interesting. The sad thing is that I really wish my lectures were longer. But they're not. But that's just because the class is so good and the lecturer does an awesome job. And she makes everything really interesting and always has some of her own stuff to put in, which is fun. I'm having a little trouble in my topics in neuropsychology class, but that's just because we've just been going over the history of neuropsychology, which is I don't find so fascinating. I guess. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'd rather like go into like, well, there's this part of it, and this part of it, and this part of it, and not just the history of it. But I'm sure we'll get there eventually. But yeah. And then developmental cognitive neuroscience is always really interesting. I've been learning how genes and a person's genes or DNA and their environment both kind of interact to develop or build a person. So that's really fascinating. And my London theater class, we went to go see No Naughty Bits, which is a play about the part of the Monty Python crew suing the ABC network for not showing or for cutting out too much of the naughty bits in the Monty Python movies. So it was hilarious. It was great. I enjoyed it a lot more than Decade. So it was really nice to have something that was lighter and where the seating was more comfortable and something that wasn't 3 hours long. And definitely something that was not depressing. So, really appreciate that. But in my class, when we talked about Decade, which was the production about 9/11, it was there are so many people in my class who are from the East Coast or live in New York, or there was a few that were only miles away from the towers. So the girl and I who I was sitting next to, and I just kind of felt like we didn't really have too much of a place to say anything, or it was very, you know, or could talk about it, because everybody else was really emotional, and they thought that some of the British performers in the production might have been making light of the situation of 9/11. I don't think that's the case, but they kind of did. And they don't quite understand how it's a world event. They think it's just more of like a United States event, not a world event. And, said, well, how could they know or understand when they were 3,000 miles away? And as a person who lives on the West Coast and is 3,000 miles away, I mean, I don't think it's the distance, and it wasn't so much of a United States thing, but it was a World Trade Center. So, but anyway, it was definitely a difficult discussion, in which I didn't know how to respond or talk about or say. But I think part of that is because I wasn't quite comfortable with any of those people either. So, but I'm sure I'll get there or be able to discuss other things or discuss it at another time when I can better formulate an opinion and nobody's as emotional. Um, then again, I don't know if that's possible because it's a really touchy subject. Anyway, moving on. I had a great adventure this weekend. Saturday, I kind of woke up late and I was thinking about going to the beach, but then I decided it was too late to go. It takes me an hour to get there by train anyway. So I decided to go to Notting Hill. So I took the tube to Notting Hill, and it's a really lovely neighborhood. The buildings are just beautiful, and everything's kind of like crisp and green, but there's still like, I mean, it's in the city, but there's still like a lot of trees, and there's like lots of little shops on the side of the road. And so I went into a few and had some lunch at a cafe and went to a local bookstore. And of course, knowing me, I can't walk out of a bookstore empty-handed. I think it's impossible, really. Guess I make it that way, but there's always good books to find, and I don't think you can have too many books. So, but I did buy a couple of local authors that were suggested to me by one of the clerks at the store. So, really excited to get into those. So, and then kept walking, and I went into the mall, the Westfield Mall. Now I know we have Westfield at home, and why would I go into one when I can go into one at home? But they had a movie theater, or a movie theater or a cinema, and so I decided that I wanted to go see a movie. So at the theater, there's these you can get VIP seats. I've never heard of this. Not in a cinema. Not when you go to just go see a movie. So I decided I was going to experience this VIP seating. So it's like first class, but it's like sitting in first class, but for movie theater. Like the seats are leather, they kind of lean back a little, and the arm rests are a little bigger so that you can put your whole arm, and the person next to you who shares the same armrest can also have their whole arm. I could like switch from this side of the seat, cross my legs, and the other side of the seat, and if I felt comfortable enough, I could have curled up in that seat if I had taken my shoes off. So it was really awesome. The movie I saw, Drive, was really, really good. It's really nice that it's not just your typical action movie. There's some pretty cool action scenes in driving stunts, but there's actually a plot that goes with it, and there's actually real acting, which is really nice, and not just one of those. I mean, I like Die Hard, Pop. I love Die Hard, but but it's not like a whole Die Hard movie where it's just about the action. Really. So that was refreshing. And then I went to have some dinner, and I had some really good pasta and a glass of wine. And yes, so. But everywhere I go, I take a bit of reading with me, and it's generally my neuropsychology book. So my joke all weekend long is that I've had a great date, very intellectual and stimulating, with my neuropsychology books. So, and I get to take them home. Woo! All right. But yeah. So, but that was Saturday. It was good. I didn't get home till late, but I really enjoyed myself. And then Sunday, I was looking for a tattoo parlor because I heard there's a really good one down the street, and so I was gonna go in and start looking at other tattoo designs. I have an idea of what I want, but I need somebody to work on with me. But nothing was open, so I got on a bus and decided just to go. and have an adventure. And I got off the bus at Elephant and Castle, and there's like little stations where you can rent bikes here. And they're like Barclays bikes. You just stick in your credit card, it charges you £1, and you can have access to the bike for 24 hours. And then you can like park it at other stations. So I rode the bike from the side of the river that I'm on, which is the south side of the river at Elephant and Castle, to the other side of the river to a museum called the Tate-Britian Museum. And that was phenomenal. I saw the Romantics exhibition, which had a lot of really old romantic paintings, of course. But it was, I've never, I mean, I've gone to the De Young Museum and I've seen, you know, some Picasso and stuff like that, but I've never been in a room with such old, really large, phenomenal works of art, paintings. I'll put I didn't take any pictures. I don't like taking pictures in galleries or museums. It just doesn't feel right. So, but I'm sure I'll post a couple online, links to them, the ones that I really liked. But they were awesome, and I liked how they had it set up where there was one particular artist, JMW Turner. They had they had him everywhere, but they had a room of his early art and his late art, and it was awesome to be able to see and compare and contrast what's changed and what hasn't. And I didn't go with anybody. I just went by myself, but you know, it's just so nice to kind of like be able to sit there and think about and be like, oh, well, this reminds me of this. And I don't know a whole lot about art, but I know how it makes me feel, and so I like to go and pretend I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. So that was an adventure, and then I got back on the bike, and I rode past. It's not Terwilliger Square, but it's something close. The way the British people pronounce it, it's kind of hard to keep up with. I don't know how they say it, so, but it's there's generally like protests there every weekend. So I ended up, and the streets are blocked off generally, so I ended up riding through there, and it was the one about India, I think. I think that was the protest. I feel really stupid for not really knowing, but I didn't stay or anything. I just rode past it and then parked my bike and got on the tube and came back home, and had dinner and read more neuropsychology books, and I did read a little bit of fiction. Gotta have some pleasure reading in there every once in a while. But that's kind of what I like to do lately is go to a small restaurant and get lost in a book over dinner. So anyway, that's been my week so far, and I'll check in with you guys next time.